Hello, it's Thursday night. Got home late. Had a lot of work to do at work. And before you all come at me for having this joint, because I get to enjoy my night ganja, it's recreationally legal out here, as well as medicinally, where I live, in New York. So, it's a little dark out because I'm standing outside because I didn't want to smoke in the basement this time. But anyway, what I wanted to talk about was something that I've been wanting to talk about for a while. So about a few years back, I was diagnosed with level 1 autism spectrum disorder, which is what they used to call Asperger's. I took the entire long-ass adult test that they have online that was given to me by my psychiatrist. It was called Cryos, I think is the name of the place. But I also got tested for ADHD. Those tests were extremely long. I mean, like, if you want to take a test that tests your patience, that was it. I failed that shit with flying colors, but I did get a diagnosis of level 1 autism spectrum disorder and ADHD. Oh, I ran out of a light. Hold on a minute. I'm back. So anyway. As I was stating, I was diagnosed with level 1 autism spectrum disorder and ADHD. So, for the longest, I thought, because of the way my parents were, that they knew and never told me. Like, they kept it a secret or something. And I really thought that because they never told me that I had any of this. And my mother kind of hinted that she wasn't surprised that I had ADHD, and that's what she said. Or she wasn't surprised that I probably had ADHD. And then she said, and possibly Asperger's, which is what they don't call it anymore. It's level 1 autism spectrum disorder. And it really upset me. And that's what made me go and find out. Because there were things in my life that I remember that I keep doing, and I still do. My reactions, my weird other issues. I wanted to get those. I wanted to figure out what it was. And long story short, that's what it was. So flash forward after the diagnosis to 2024, where it was probably the worst year of my life, or it topped the other worst year of my life, which was 2013. And a lot of things went down the way they went down. It wasn't good, and you could see a lot of it in my past videos, but basically, I finally have a conversation with my dad on the phone. And I'm a mess. I'm crying because of how things are going in my life at the time. That's how it was pretty bad. And I finally asked him, why? Why didn't you tell me that I had a diagnosis of autism? Why didn't you tell me? And what he told me was, they never knew. I got all of these tests, and I remember a lot of those tests, the blocks and all of that crap. And it happened in school. And what ended up happening was they diagnosed me with being learning disabled. So I had other idiosyncrasies about myself, but they chalked it up to me just being weird, and I would get in trouble because a lot of the time I was a little too weird, or I would talk a lot, or I mean, not in school so much as it at home, or I would get excited about things, but it would be like overly excited, or I would have what they called tantrums because I was overwhelmed or very anxious or whatever it was, or things didn't go the way I wanted them to, but it was more like uncontrollable. It was meltdowns. They were meltdowns. The little things I would do with my hands or my leg, or that was stimming. Although everybody stims. You don't have to be neurodivergent to stim. Neurotypicals do it too. But but it was all of that. You know, how I would just continuously rock in bed, the way I would sleep. Sometimes I'd rock over and over and it would knock me out, you know, that kind of thing. And there were more things too. I would just say what I meant to say without thinking about what I was saying. I mean, it's not that I didn't think what I was saying. I just, you know, I figured I'm just going to say it. And I would get in trouble a lot because my parents saying, you know, you need to think before you speak. Why don't you ever think? And I have the terrible, and still do it. I've gotten a lot better with it, but a lot of the time I slip. I had a terrible, terrible habit of interrupting people, especially when it was regarding subjects I was interested in and knew a lot about. I had a lot of hyperfixations and my super interest all the way until I was maybe 2021 was Queen. You know, I still love Queen, but I have, my super interest for the longest will always be LGBTQIA history. That will always be. That is my super interest, to the point where I'm like an activist, advocate, everything, or at least try to be. Well, anyway, I digress. That's the ADHD. My dad told me no, they didn't know. They didn't call it that, you know? And I seemed to do okay in my classes except for math. I sucked at math. And comprehension, I had a hard time with it. But there were, I can't get jokes. Like, I don't even know if a person is joking a lot. And it's not because I'm stupid. It's really because I don't get the jokes. You know, it depends on the joke. If you tell me a dark, fucked up joke, I'll get it. Or a sex joke, I will totally get it. My humor, and also a bit of sardonicism. I cannot do sarcasm to save my life, and I don't get it a lot of the time, okay? I still don't. I'm getting a little better with that. But jokes are not... I can't tell if someone is joking a lot of the time. I'll take it literally. That has been a thing. And they call me gullible, but really it's because I can't tell. So it's a lot of work to do what I gotta do, but I'm not upset about it, and that's not what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is I had made a video way before this saying that my parents didn't tell me, and I don't understand why. And the reality is, no, it's that they didn't know. They had suspicions. Like, my mother had, she thought, she worked in special ed. I mean, she was a special ed, bilingual special ed teacher for over nearly 30 years. She was able to pick up the markers on that, you know. But that's not what I was diagnosed with, you know. And so what I'm saying is, it wasn't my parents. My parents never hid it from me. And I am happy to finally just say it. I've been meaning to make this video for the longest, but I've been trying to figure out how I would say it. So I want to clear that up. And that's basically it.